Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins along with Larry Newber. Exciting IHRA drag racing coming up this afternoon, and who do we look for? Well, Larry, we got a couple of drivers who are in streaks this year.
It really has been, Bob, a season of streaks. It's also been a season of speeds, lots of new records in that area. But in pro funny cars, Dale Pulde and IHRA has won those 4 in a row that Bernstein referred to. And by the way, if anybody can beat Pulde, it's probably going to be Bernstein. That's been his nemesis over the last couple of years. Bruce Allen has shown tremendous improvement going over to the rear and Morrison car, and he's running on a streak of 3 in a row.
Our regular pit reporter for IHRA races is again with us this afternoon. Marty Reed is with one of those drivers who hopes to continue his streak this weekend.
Believe it or not, this is not the lobby of a hotel. This is the lounge area of Dale Pulde's transporter. The race car travels just about 20 feet away from us. And Dale, this is the appropriate place for us to be talking because right now you're in control of everything in the IHRA World Championship points race. You've won 4 races in a row, and you're 1 shy of Raymond Beadle's all-time mark of 18 career victories in IHRA competition.
Right now it's a pretty comfortable position because it's always harder for the group to catch up to you when you're a little bit ahead. Our Miller Buick, it's looking pretty strong for us right now. We run 561 on our first qualifying shot here yesterday, which is a new IHRA record. If we can back it up with a 567 or better, it'll give us a few more points. And I think we're going to be able to do pretty good here.
Question is there anybody who can beat Dale Pulde?
There's plenty of them out there. The Mark Oswalds, the Kenny Bernsteins, the John Lombardos and the Blue Max. They're all tough competitors. We've just had our act together. The guys have done their homework this year. Bill Schultz, Mike Klober, Randy Green, and Mike Hamby. They've all done their job this year. It's worked out very well, and we've had a pretty good amount of luck.
All I can say is keep your eye on the Miller Warrior Buick because it will be thundering down the track, I guarantee it.
Thank you, Marty. You know, there's always an element of danger associated with any form of motorsports, and Ron Coretti found out just how dangerous drag racing can be in an earlier run.
Bob will see the final 8 in each classification, but here's Coretti on the right-hand side of your screen. You see him there blowing a gasket. Hot oil comes from the engine and sprays over the top of an already steaming engine. It ignites. Now, Coretti is down inside the car, the belts and the bars. A few anxious milliseconds here. Where is Coretti? Where is Coretti? He's not out of the car. The flames are erupting. It's a San Francisco-type fire. And finally, out of the top, out of the escape hatch, Coretti is out, rolls onto the ground. A very lucky man. No injury, Bob.
He is indeed lucky to have escaped that blazing race car. Well, today's Stroh Summer Nationals are being brought.
And all of a sudden, it's all in pieces.
Yeah, we kicked the rod out about half track, and it was uncontrollable. I've never seen anything like it. It just caught on fire. Must have got on the headers or something. Hot oil got on the headers, and it's a shame.
You're okay, though?
I'm fine, yeah.
Are you going to be able to put anything back together to make the show?
Oh, no. It's a mess. We don't have another body with us. We're going to have to renew the whole deal. It's history.
Well, Ron Coretti's afternoon is over, but here are the quarterfinalists in the Pro Funny Car division. Jim Head will be in our first race.
We're definitely struggling this year. We're trying a lot of new things, and some of them are paying off and some of them aren't. We're learning a lot. We have yet to put it together for what I'd call a real perfect race. Hopefully this will be the one.
Jim Head will be in the far lane here in this first round of competition. He is 36 years old from Columbus, Ohio. His opponent in the near lane, in the old Milwaukee Candies and Hughes Pontiac Trans Am, Mark Oswald from right here in Cincinnati. He's the defending IHRA Winston Pro Funny Car World Champion.
Oswald has had a season sort of like Head's. He really hasn't put it together either. You know, he was the defending champion, or is the defending champion this year. Last year, he was the leading money winner. He won over $155,000. He's actually second in terms of dollars won so far this year, but he has yet to win a race. He's 0 for 1 in IHRA competition.
So Mark Oswald will be competing in front of his hometown fans, and we asked him earlier about the pressure that's on him because of that.
Yeah, I've lived here all my life. You know, with the way we travel around, I very seldom get to race here. It's now that IHRA brought this race here in town, you know, it makes it nice.
Mark Oswald set to go in the near lane, Jim Head in the far lane. These are the quarterfinals in the IHRA Summer Nationals from Cincinnati, Ohio. In the far lane, Jim Head has the advantage all the way down, and he defeats Mark Oswald.
Well, both of them had been a little bit out of shape, particularly at the beginning of the run. There's Head. You see him celebrating his almost 240-mile-an-hour run, but more importantly, he moves one step up on the ladder.
And the replay, Larry, will show both drivers just out of shape slightly, but at the line, it's Jim Head with the victory.
Well, when that happens, momentum really drags you down, and I think what happened in that particular case is that Head just had a little bit of the advantage of recovering quicker than his competitor.
He moves into the semifinals. In the first round, a bit of an upset as Paul Smith defeated Tom the Mongoose McEwen.
Boynton Beach, Florida driver has never won an IHRA's final, and he's got to really be surprised himself that he was able to pull this one off.
Well, Paul Smith has some great competition here in this round. His opponent will be Kenny Bernstein.
We wish we were running better, obviously, in the last 2 races on the IHRA circuit, but we still haven't given up the Winston Championship over here, and we're not out of it yet. There's a lot of time left, but we're going to step it up this weekend, and so I think if you got to say pressure, this would be one that we've got to put it together and win.
Kenny Bernstein, the first Pro Funny car driver to break the 260-mile-an-hour barrier, going 260.11 in March of last year. And his opponent will be Paul Smith, a 38-year-old from Boynton Beach, Florida. Smith will be in the custom-body Dodge Daytona, and Bernstein, of course, in the Budweiser King 4-Tempo.
Now, Bernstein may have been the pioneer over 260 miles an hour, but he hasn't cracked the forest of IHRA yet this year. He is yet to win. Runner-up last night in the Stroh Night of Fire, but he's still looking for his first victory. He's moved up here this afternoon in Cincinnati, but he hasn't come across the line first when the finals have been over yet this year.
Paul Smith, this will be his 3rd IHRA event of the year. He did not enter 3 of the previous races, did, however, compete at Rockingham and at Bristol, Tennessee. There's Kenny Bernstein. He's 40 years old from Dallas, Texas. We're in the quarterfinals. Bernstein in the near lane and Paul Smith in the far lane.
You know, he took some time off from drag racing to concentrate on business a couple years ago, and he came back really full-time last year. And I got to admit, I'm a little surprised at how successful he has been, because the technology has changed so much in recent years that Bernstein seemed to be a little bit behind when the project restarted last year.
Now you can see the IHRA officials there making sure that the lights are properly aligned so the cars can be staged. Bernstein moving up now to the proper starting line, and we're almost set to go in the quarterfinals here. Smith against Bernstein. Kenny off the line well.
Oh, Smith is in trouble.
And Bernstein has an easy win.
Well, Paul Smith, you saw him getting over that center line, crossing the line of demarcation, or at least coming very close to it. Maybe we can tell in the replay if he actually got over or not, but at that point he realized that his race was over.
As we take a look at the replay, you'll notice that Smith's car crosses the center line, and he backs out of the throttle at that moment, giving Kenny Bernstein the easy win. Bernstein with a 5.734 ET, speed 250.69. Kenny Bernstein moves into the semifinals against Jim Head. More Pro Funny Car activity coming up as we present for you the IHRA Stroh Summernationals, and Dale Pulde from Granada Hills, California, set to go in a solo run here this afternoon in the Miller Warrior. He's the winningest active driver on the IHRA circuit, and we asked him earlier about his sponsorships.
We have got a few other prospects. We're going to go first with our Miller High Life situation, see how that all holds out. I think we'll probably be with Miller High Life and Quaker State, and they've both been very good sponsors along with Buick and Champion. So I think next year you'll probably see the Miller High Life name on our car next year. Actually, Miller American Warrior is probably what it'll say.
And I'll tell you, Larry, when you talk about beautiful race cars, you got to mention this one.
Absolutely. He draws the by the way, because not only did he turn in the best time in the qualifications here earlier, but it was the quickest ET in IHRA history, and I think Pulde won this one.
I think he did. 5.759 the ET, 251.39 miles an hour.
Now, of course, it becomes important because he is racing against the clock for lane choice against the fellow competitors.
John Lombardo set to go here against Billy Meyer, and we talked to Lombardo earlier about setting up a winning car.
It's not so much that it's a driver or crew or any particular problem. It's just that we've changed everything in order to run 550s and 560s, and that means you've got to start from scratch and you've got to take your lumps to do it.
John Lombardo from Sherman Oaks, California in the old Milwaukee Light Blue Max Ford Mustang. And his opponent will be Waco, Texas, Billy Meyer in the 711 Chiefs Auto Parts Ford Mustang.
Meyer really has the advantage here. He hasn't had that tremendous season, but little John Lombardo, I suggest that he's underneath a lot of pressure, Bob. There you see Meyer in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. He turned a 250-mile-per-hour flat in the first round. Lombardo has taken over from Raymond Beadle, the famous Blue Max old Milwaukee racing team, and he really hasn't shown the success that his mentor, Beadle, has had in this car in years past, at least yet.
Billy Meyer in the near lane against John Lombardo in the far lane. Green light flashes on. Lombardo with the advantage here. Gets out of shape, and Billy Meyer comes on to win.
You know, you shift a couple of times, at least a couple of times, down the course, and Lombardo really had the advantage, at least temporarily. There you saw the car get that extra surge of energy about 2/3 of the way down the strip, but Meyer really came on strong at the end.
And as you can see, it's just about a car length advantage for Billy Meyer and his win over John Lombardo. We have Pro Stock coming up in a few moments. Marty Reed is with Ricky Smith.
1 year ago here at Edgewater Park, Ricky Smith recorded one of his biggest victories ever, beating the late Lee Shepard. But since then, he has been to victory lane only once. And Ricky, what has been the problem in 1985? You just can't seem to get it to victory circle.
It seemed like a monkey jumped on our back this year, and we run really good. We set the record down, a mile-an-hour record at Rockingham at the first of the year. You know, we had bad tire shakedown right on the start line, and I've never had that in my entire racing career. And then at Bristol, we was running real good, and got in the semis there, and we lost a clutch. And it's just been something like that. It's just something that's never happened to me before. This has happened to me in eliminations on Sunday this year. We just had 3 or 4 bad incidents, and it's hurt us real bad.
Well, I can guarantee you one thing. What goes around comes around, and Ricky Smith and his crew will find the combination, and it could be this weekend here at Edgewater Park.
And we'll begin our eliminations in the Pro Stock Division quarterfinals right after we take this break.
You know, last year he hadn't been beat all year, and we wanted to beat him bad. And they wanted to win all the races in IHRA last year. So, I mean, when we beat him last year, I was so happy. You know, I just turned loose the steering wheel and went through the finish line, and you could see it on the camera from last year. If I'd have wrecked the car then, I probably wouldn't have been too mad, because I was just really happy.
Ricky is 31 years old from King, North Carolina. He drives the Motorcraft Ford Thunderbird. His opponent in this round will be Darrell Alderman from Moorhead, Kentucky in the Jerry Haas Racing Chevrolet Camaro.
Well, Alderman was the second slowest of the final 8 who've gotten into the last 4 runs in this class here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Professional contractor who made his first finals ever just last year in IHRA.
Alderman only in his 3rd season in Pro Stock Machinery. It's his first full year, however, as driver of this Jerry Haas-owned Camaro. They're out of St. Louis, Missouri. Alderman near lane and Ricky Smith in the far lane. Quarterfinals, Pro Stock, Cincinnati.
Smith is the 82 champion. He says all the bad breaks haven't gotten to him yet. He mentioned that earlier about a month ago, but I don't know. They're beginning to mount up, Bob.
They're even coming off the line. Alderman with a slight advantage midway down. Yeah, it's Alderman.
Alderman, I think, definitely got Smith, and what an upset that is. Ricky Smith struggling to get back some starting that he had back in 1982 and 83. I'll bet he thought he had a win, but Darrell Alderman has pulled it off.
180 miles an hour, 7.610. This was a good race.
And Ricky Smith appears to have done nothing wrong. The car is not bolting off the line. He doesn't look like he's losing any traction. Alderman not quite as smooth, but certainly smooth enough to nose out Smith.
So Alderman moves into the semifinals, getting set to go now. Bob Glidden against Billy Ewing, and we asked Bob Glidden about the domination of Bruce Allen this year.
Bruce has stepped into the shoes, and they fit rather well. He hasn't had the big sting yet. No one has come along and beat him soundly 2 or 3 races, but that will happen, could happen here.
Bob Glidden from Whiteland, Indiana in the 711 Chief Auto Parts Ford Thunderbird will be in the near lane, and Ewing in the Ewing & Ewing Chevrolet Camaro in the far lane.
Billy Ewing on the right-hand side there as you see the run roar off. He qualified at 180 miles an hour. That was slower than 15 of the other 16 finalists.
And Glidden with just about a car length win over Ewing, 188.67 the miles per hour.
Glidden came into this particular face-off having turned in the fastest mile-per-hour qualifying run at almost 188 miles an hour. It was third best in terms of time.
There you can see just about a car-length win over Billy Ewing, so Bob Glidden also moves into the semifinals. And we'll be back with more of the IHRA Stroh Summer Nationals from Cincinnati, Ohio in just a moment.
A loser in second round with a 766. The car just not able to get down the track.
Well, the car went down the track fairly good. I messed up on driving. You know, we got a computer in the car, and I come back and played it over, and it showed me. I pulled second gear way early, and I pulled third gear early, but it should have come back, but it didn't. You know, I messed up on driving, I think.
Well, I know a lot of guys that wouldn't say that publicly, that it was their fault and not the car's.
Well, I admit when I do something wrong. You can ask my boys. If I do something wrong, I tell them. You know, on this computer, it definitely tells you. So there's no doubt. I messed up.
Good luck next time out.
Thank you.
Ricky Smith out of the competition here this weekend. Set to go now, John Dowie from Columbia, South Carolina against the hillbilly Roy Hill from Sophia, North Carolina.
Well, that's Hill. Johnny Dowie, by the way, turned in some heavy-duty miles per hour in prelims. He was clocked at 187.5 miles per hour. That was the second fastest in terms of miles per hour. He was ranked only 7th, though, because of E.T.
Dowie in the near lane in the home wrecker for Thunderbird. He's going against the Mercury Topaz of Roy Hill. It's a close race. At the line. Oh, I don't know who won. Dowie wins with a 7.606, 185.95 miles an hour.
I don't even know how the electric eye could tell that. Do you suppose there will ever really be a tie in something major? That's about as close as you can come.
Watch the replay on this. You'll find it close all the way to the line.
They were keeping pace after step after step after step with each other all the way down the line, Bob. Both of them appear to be doing it just perfectly, and I don't know what causes somebody to win and somebody to lose in a situation like that.
A faster ET and more miles per hour for Roy Hill, but Johnny Dowie moves into the semis. He'll be going against Bob Glidden next time. Up now, Charlie Peppers against Bruce Allen. Now, Allen has won 3 in a row in IHRA, and we ask him, can anybody beat you?
Anybody out here can win. Bob and Ricky and Ewings and everybody that's here is capable of winning. And like I said, we've just been lucky and been having good luck and not having any problems, and the car's just been making good runs, and I think that's the key to it, Buddy and Dave.
Bruce Allen in the rear Morrison Chevrolet Camaro. Charlie Peppers in the far lane and the Peppers Automotive Ford Thunderbird.
That's Buddy Morrison and David Rear. The run is off. The 34-year-old former engine builder from Michigan, Bruce Allen. Can he pull it off again? He's got a real challenge this time.
Yes, but Bruce Allen does defeat Charlie Peppers to move into the semifinals. 187.11 miles an hour. Here's the replay.
Well, Allen has already said that the machine has been so good that him being, in effect, a replacement driver has really sensed the pressure. The pressure has been on him this year, and I think he's responded well.
So there is Bruce Allen going back to the pit area to work on that car. Now we take a break from our drag racing activity and show you a performance by a guy that calls himself the Leaper. His real name is Ken Jordan. He is going to jump over and, I believe, turn a somersault in midair at this car that'll be going about 64 miles an hour toward him.
Now watch close. This is combining karate and daredevils like you used to see at the county fair. Up, and he makes it.
Amazing.
Oh.
You know, you could almost say that's stupidity, but it takes a lot of talent and a lot of coordination to do something like this. Here's another angle.
Now, what I wonder is, how do you practice something like this? I mean, it's one thing to throw up a flaming baton and maybe catch the wrong end and burn your hand, but what if he messes up?
You don't get the second chance, I would think, or at least you would probably be seriously injured if you miss this. We have an in-car camera here, and look at the perspective that the driver has on this. Oh, there he goes.
You can imagine going home and your wife saying, well, how are things at the office today? Well, they were okay, but the guy driving the car screwed up. I landed on the trunk again.
Very talented Ken Jordan, the Leaper, has performed his duty well here this weekend in Cincinnati.
I guarantee you that is one unique talent.
I totally agree with you. Well, there is activity going on back in the pit area here at Edgewater Park. There's activity in the Dale Pulde pit. He'll be going against Billy Meyer in the semifinals. in just a few minutes. And on the other side of the pit area, there is also activity in the Kenny Bernstein pit, and he will be going against Jim Head in the semis. So a lot of work going on back in the pits, and we'll have more activity on the line as we continue to cover the Stroh Summer Nationals from Edgewater Park in Cincinnati. It's 7:30 Eastern Time here on ESPN with all the latest news and results from the world of motorsports. Marty Reed is in the pit area with our question of the week.
Who do you like to come up against least, and why?
Well, right now it'd have to be Dale Pulde because he's an excellent driver and he's got his car running real well, so I'd have to say he's probably one of the biggest threats.
Dale's one of those guys that is right now a hot racer, a hot car, and I don't know if you want to pick on him too much right now.
Well, I think I'm probably the least lucky against Kenny Bernstein. It's not that he's got any better crew or any better car or any better driver. It's just that things don't seem to go as easily as we want them to against Kenny. It's somebody, everybody has someone they come up against that they just have trouble with. It seems like he's the toughest for us.
Prudhomme is always tough. You know, you can never count him out. And every time I run him, we always have excellent races. So I'd probably say him.
Bernstein, because he's running awful good. Everybody else probably would have thought, you know, Pulde, but he smokes the tires a lot, and his car's real violent. It's prone to maybe, you know, screw up.
Dale Pulde, because he always beats me. Well, the way we've been running lately, any of them, but our car's coming around.
Lee Shepard was he was probably the most consistent out there, but I still feel that in equal cars, Ricky Smith is probably the toughest driver out there.
I look at everybody as being capable of beating me, and when we pull up there, I just do my best to, no matter who it is, to have a real good reaction time and make a good run, because anybody that qualifies can beat you.
Probably Ricky Smith. He's one of the best drivers on any circuit. He's just a real tough guy to beat.
Everyone is our enemy when we get to the starting line.
Well, a couple of drivers mentioned Kenny Bernstein as being tough to beat, and he's up now against Jim Head in the semifinals of the Pro Funny Cars.
Yeah, Ronnie Sox's comment about Ricky Smith, very interesting. Scott Khalid, of course, a little bit of poking fun at the guy who's been the one to beat so far this year.
Bernstein defeated Paul Smith in the quarterfinals, and Head defeated Mark Oswald. And now Bernstein is in the near lane, Head in the far lane here in the semis.
Head at a disadvantage, but his reaction time in the qualifying runs, about the equivalent of the guy who catches a bullet in his teeth. Very good. He only got 229 miles per hour, but his reaction time great, but the reaction time not enough to overcome the king, Bob.
It is Kenny Bernstein with the win. He moves into the finals. His ET 5.714 and a run of 247.25.
Are Bernstein and Pulde on a collision course? It's beginning to look like it.
We'll know in a few moments. Let's take a look at this run again as Bernstein got off the line quickly. Head with just a slight bobble there at the green.
Yeah, Head was the man who turned a double 60 last year. He turned a 5.6, 260 miles per hour, but Bernstein is right on the Juggernauts course here in Cincinnati.
Coming up now, Dale Pulde going against Billy Meyer. And Pulde well out ahead now in the point standings. Will he take a few races off and relax?
We're not going to give it a chance. We're going to try to run all the races and run as hard as we can. We're kind of on the greedy side. We want to win everything.
Pulde and the Miller Warrior here in the near lane, and Billy Meyer from Waco, Texas in the far lane.
Pulde is another one of those guys who the reaction time has really held him up in very shining light so far in 1985. He's been so consistent. He's been so quick right at the line. They've given up a little bit of horsepower in terms of miles per hour down at the top end of the course, but Pulde has really been keeping it all together. It's not been a matter of putting it together. This was even a new car in mid-season, but it's really proven to be a fast one and a solid combination.
Interesting statistics. Since 1977, Dale Pulde has not finished lower than 5th in the IHRA Winston Pro Funny Car point standings.
Pulde with 5.8 or 5.7. Now this round, how consistent will it be? And Pulde's got him again, Bob.
He pulls ahead, and Pulde does indeed move into the finals. So it'll be Pulde against Kenny Bernstein in the finals later this afternoon. There's the ET in the miles an hour for Dale Pulde. And here's a replay of the run.
Pulde came in, I mentioned, with a 5.83, 5.76. And now the clocks tell us he turns out another 5.78, 248 miles per hour. Doesn't knock your eyes out with miles per hour, but it's good enough to win.
The finals are set up, Pulde against Bernstein, but we have the semis and the Pro Stock coming up in just a few moments. Stay with us for more of the Summer Nationals from Cincinnati.
Look how water can destroy unprotected wood, but not if it's protected with Thompson's Water Seal. Use Thompson's Water Seal waterproofer on dozens of surfaces. Brush on Thompson's for an invisible barrier that helps prevent water from entering and damaging brick, wood, and concrete. Your house isn't really protected until it's protected with Thompson's Water Seal. Many stores now have special values on Thompson's Water Seal.
If you own a house, you gotta own a shop vac. This baby's got the power to pick up almost anything.
Got broken glass, nails, or wood chips? Shop vac gobbles up stuff that would kill an ordinary vacuum. And a shop vac wet dry can even vacuum water.
And it's going to be Bob Glidden from Whiteland, Indiana in the near lane against John Dowie from Columbia, South Carolina in the far lane.
You know, 2 months ago, Glidden went 186 miles per hour, and that was the speed record at the time. And now that's become almost ho-hum. He went 188 himself again here this weekend in Cincinnati, and he comes in as the third-ranking qualifier in a list that he was headed by Roy Hill and Bruce Allen, the number 1 and 2 qualifiers coming into the final rounds.
For one time, Bob Glidden was virtually unstoppable on the IHRA circuit, and he is looking for a win here today to get set to go in the semifinals. And with a bobble, John Dowie with a bobble off the line, but it's a pretty close race as they come down. Oh, I believe that Glidden got him.
He came on at the end there. You know, Glidden lost a little bit of momentum at the very start of the line. Yeah, there he is, number 3 qualifier. This time 188 miles per hour. Both of them had their moments in that race where it looked like they may be throwing it away. At the line, you can see Glidden there. He brings it back down. He gets that traction put right back down into the track, and he begins to move in on his opponent.
Good race, though. About a half a car length win for Bob Glidden, who moves into the finals now.
The 200, that designates a pro stocker in the IHRA trail, and of course the black line in remembrance of the great Lee Shepard.
Set to go now, Darrell Alderman, Moorhead, Kentucky against Bruce Allen from Lapeer, Michigan. It'll be Allen in the near lane and Alderman in the far lane.
Bruce Allen is the man that everybody is pointing at. Remember, he has won 3 in a row. He's going after number 4 this weekend here. He qualified at 186.7 miles per hour. Not the top speed, but certainly the best ET.
Cars are getting staged now for this semifinal run. Alderman has moved his car up to the line, and now Bruce Allen moves his Chevrolet Camaro to the staging stripe.
Do not underestimate the significance of a drag race. You see the electric eye reflecting on the hubcap, meaning that Bruce Allen has been staged. He now creeps up to the start line. The guard beam holds him back. They both creep forward. And they're off.
Pretty even at the halfway point now with the slight advantage, Allen, and Allen wins.
So Bruce Allen continues that relentless march that he has begun so far in 1985. He has looked very strong after somewhat of a shaky start in this new ride.
Well, Allen smoked the tires just a little bit coming off the line, but it paid off for him as he went 7.578 on the ET, a speed of 186.72 miles an hour. Bruce Allen against Bob Glidden in the finals of Pro Stock here at Cincinnati coming up later this afternoon. Well, Marty Reed has been down in the pit area all afternoon with various aspects of what's going on, and he has this report on a drag racing family.
In IndyCar racing, you've got the Unser family and the Andrettis. NASCAR's got the Pettys and the Elliots. In drag racing, it's the Coughlins. Back in the 70s, Father Jeg was driving Top Fuel dragsters. Now his 3 oldest sons are competing in the IHRA circuit.
Well, of course, it's got to be a father's dream to have 4 sons, first of all, and then to have them be interested to work in the business with you is a 10 strike. There's no question about that. And then my interest has always been drag racing, and for them to follow in my footsteps in this is it's the ultimate.
Have they surprised you with their capabilities as drivers?
Well, yes, they have, but the neat part about it is I think that they've watched me race for the last 20 years, and then John started racing, and I helped him as much as I could, and I think that by him racing in a dragster. That worked out real well because it was something that I was used to racing. The other two boys just stepped right into the project, and I think after watching John, they just worked out extremely well. Michael, second time out, he was into the semifinals at one of the bigger meets at at the races, and it's just worked out really well.
How important is it that for you to have the brothers and dad and everybody involved?
Well, it's real important. With 3 cars, everybody has to work real hard. My brother, Jeg, he works real hard. He's got a 3-wheeler that he follows all of the cars around to, check the tire pressure and make sure everything's perfect. And, boy, without him, I'll tell you what, we'd be hurting.
We all seem to stay together real well, and no fighting, and everything goes together and stays good, no problems, and works out real well.
We should point out there is one more member of the Coughlin family ready to get into the driver's seat. 15-year-old Jeggy does most of the mechanical work now, but he's ready to climb in. But I would know only one way to start a good argument in this family, and asking, who's the best driver?
I am. We'll be back with the finals from Edgewater.
The clutch is the reason that Bruce Allen ran a 7:57 last time down the track, and it has cost him lane choice. It could prove to be very costly.
While the clutch is being replaced in the Bruce Allen pit, all seems to be calm and collected with Bob Glidden. He's enjoying a cigarette, making some minor adjustments to his car. It'll be Glidden and Allen in the finals in pro stock in just a moment. First, however, the finals in the Sportsman classes.
In the far lane is from nearby Lawrenceburg, Indiana. So if anybody has a home court advantage, it'd be this guy.
And Kyle pulls off the victory. So Dan Kyle, winner in Superstock.
There'll be some celebrating in the Ohio Valley tonight, I can guarantee you.
And in Top Sportsman, it's Don Young in the far lane against Jeff Deirdre.
Another situation where you've got to be careful. You can't go too fast. You've got to go as fast as you possibly can, or as fast as you need to win the race, but you can't go faster than you qualify.
Jeff Deirdre with a red light, and the Top Sportsman champion here in Cincinnati is Don Young.
As a matter of fact, he turned in a 169-mile-per-hour run. That's a very good time for the Top Sportsman class.
Now we get set for the finals in the Pro Stock Division. And it pits Bob Glidden against Bruce Allen, and this should be a tremendous contest. Don't forget, Bruce Allen now is going for 4 wins in a row.
Glidden comes into this race turning in 7.5, 7.5, 7.5 his last 3 runs. Would you say that that is consistent? Now the staging, a very critical part of a drag race. A little bit of game of wits goes on here. You've got the youngster on the right-hand side, the old veteran on the left-hand side, and both of them now testing each other.
Well, neither one seems to be anxious to stage their cars. Looks like Allen has staged his rear Morrison Camaro.
Finally, Allen moves up. Now where's Glidden? How much time does Glidden have? When can he stage? Will he stage soon enough? Now
Here he goes. Boy, a real game of cat and mouse going on. The green finally comes on. Here we go, the Pro Stock Finals. Glidden and Allen, and it's Bob Glidden, I believe, by just about a bumper.
So far, Allen has had the edge in terms of horsepower, but Glidden's team, they see the sign. It's a Glidden victory. Somebody has finally defeated Allen.
The string comes to an end. Here's a replay. Bob Glidden in the near lane, off the line quickly, and he pulled off the victory.
Oh, a lot of fun and a lot of drama before that race began. And both of them pulled it off at the very end. A couple of nice bright green lights, and Glidden wins by about a half a fender.
The Glidden ET, 7.505, 182.18 miles an hour. So we asked several drivers who can beat Bruce Allen earlier, and the answer has already been given. It is Bob Glidden. Well, let's go down to Marty Reed, who is with both Bruce and Bob.
Up a little in third. I want to get both of you in here. Bob, a 750, again, very, very consistent.
Well, I'll tell you what, you talk about consistency. These guys from Texas have been consistent. I knew somewhere along the line we would be able to break their string. Don't say stand there and smile. They're doing a heck of a job, and I'll tell you what, Ed and our crew did a good job here, and they got the car down the track, and we finally won one of these races.
Bruce, the winning streak snapped at 3, but you're still in a commanding situation in the points.
I was just glad to race Bob in the final. It's always good to run somebody that's that good. Just a pleasure to be in the final. We had a little bit of problems today, but we're happy just to be in the final.
The clutch change, it didn't seem to help?
Well, we'd slipped the clutch on a run before. It just gotten real thin and slipped. We had to change it just out of necessity, not trying to improve, just to get back where we were.
But you'll get back on the winning track.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Bruce Allen, a lower ET and a higher miles per hour, but still a loser.
Well, the burnout by Kenny Bernstein as he gets set here in the Pro Funny Car Finals. Bernstein against Dale Pulde.
Pulde told us earlier that he is the least lucky against Bernstein, but Pulde is on a winning streak. He's won those 4 in a row. Nobody else has ever done that before. If Pulde in recent history was ever going to beat Bernstein, it would probably be today. But Bob?
Yeah, there may be a problem here. They've raised the bodywork off of Bernstein's car and begin to go to work in the engine compartment.
It's kind of interesting. There's a time element that's involved here, and Pulde has kind of an option as he sees what's going on. Will he kind of rush Bernstein and the crew? Will he move up on stage? Or considering what is at stake and how much these guys both want to beat the other one, will Pulde hold back a little bit maybe and delay just a bit on that staging? Let's see how he plays it.
Well, the crew's scrambling around here. They've gotten a tool or a wrench or something and are working on the engine, it looks like. Time is getting away here. The seconds are ticking away as Pulde seems to be ready to go in that Miller Warrior.
Well, like with Glidden, whom we just saw, Pulde has also racked up a lot of consistency in terms of ETs in this meet so far. 5.8, 5.7, 5.7 in his last 3 rounds. Now I think the Bernstein and the Tempo is ready to go. Tempo against Buick Somerset, a couple of heretofore unlikely brands to be in the finals.
Should be a classic matchup. Remember, Dale Pulde has won the last 4 consecutive IHRA titles and is going for 5 in a row this afternoon. Can he make it 5 in a row, or will Kenny Bernstein in the streak?
There's been a chink in the arm, and the race is off. The chink in the arm has been for Pulde. They've been having bearing problems all week.
Looks like Bernstein, yeah, an easy win, really, for Kenny Bernstein. The string is broken for Pulde.
Well, it looked like that Pulde finally shot a rod or something out through that motor. By the way, they've used that motor for about 80 runs. Bernstein, it was pretty obvious. He's been running lean, particularly the last couple of runs. You see a lot of flame shooting out, but He took the shot, he took the chance, and it looked like it worked as Pulde scatters one, and Bernstein with the flames firing out pulls off a championship.
Bernstein with a 5.723 ET and a 246.57 mile-an-hour run. Kenny's crew goes to congratulate him at the far end of the drag strip, and Dale Pulde's crew also goes down there. Marty Reed is at the end of the drag strip with this conversation with the winner here, Kenny Bernstein.
My man, Doobie.
I got to tell you, this young man, Doobie.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't brought him into the show until now, but every time he has been with you at a racetrack, you won.
It started a year ago right here is where I met Doobie. He came up and said hello to us, and he's been with us off and on ever since, and boy, we're just tickled to death for him and everybody else. Hats off to Dale Armstrong and the crew. Super job all weekend, and they had some fast work up there with some vice grips, so the vice grips made a fast run.
You ran 5.72, very consistent all day long.
Well, that was it. We tried some things over the weekend, new stuff to try to make the Budweiser King Motorcraft tempo get a little more responsive, but it didn't work, so Dale take it right back where it's been all year, and we worked it out today.
Doobie, you going to ask for a big pay raise now that you keep winning?
I don't know.
You don't know. I'll tell you what. I think he'll get it.
He probably has a plane ticket now.
One of the best in drag racing, Kenny Bernstein. Our congratulations to him and to Bob Glidden. They're our champions here at Edgewater. We'll be back with our closing comment, and that ends the streaks that we talked about earlier.
Ends the streaks, but you know something else? It's kind of nice to see that in this era of computers and high tech that the driver reaction time experience can still make a difference.
More exciting IHRA drag racing later this summer on ESPN from Darlington, South Carolina.
Yeah, coming up in October, the Stroh Funny Car Showdown for the fastest qualifiers of the 1985 season. That really ought to be something. And then, of course, a regular 16-car match-off when we see both the Pro Stock and the Pro Funny Car divisions.
Marty Reed has been covering the pit area for us this afternoon. Let's go to him for his closing comments.
Well, we found out today why people keep coming back to the sport of drag racing, because no matter how many times you've won in a row, streaks are made to be ended, and 2 of them ended today. Kenny Bernstein snaps Dale Pulde's streak at 4 straight, and Bob Glidden snaps Bruce Allen's winning streak at 3. Both those guys will certainly be back in the winner's circle. They're still in commanding leads in the point situation, but it just makes it more interesting for all of us as things continue to tighten up on the IHRA World Championship points race.